What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of NAS100 analysis today. Now, guys, I hope your week last week has been really good, because mine definitely was. Okay, so we're definitely keeping up with the trends of getting good results. It's been fantastic. So I hope you guys have been having the same kind of vibe as well, right? The content that I will be sharing with you today, you are going to find super useful, in my opinion. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. So with that covered, we're going to get straight into where I left off from last week Sunday. Some of the things I talked about that we needed to keep an eye on, okay, and how that played out throughout last week just gone. Okay, so the last video that I did, right, was covering all of these zones over here. Okay, that was the last one that I did. So we're just going to mark out this area real quick. So Friday. Okay, yeah. So we're going to target this area right here. We're going to lock that in place. Lock that in nicely. Okay. And there was a couple of things that I said in the previous video. So the last video that I did on Sunday the 13th. Okay. And I mentioned that we needed to keep an eye on the low of the week, which is this over here. So this was the low of not this week just gone, prior week. So week commencing the 13th of, no, week commencing the 6th, because that was the low for that particular week, right? And I mentioned that we needed to see what was going to happen before we did anything. So we kind of got a move in this area over here, right? And I'm not going to jump in and tell you about all of my winning trades, because I had a lot of winning trades last week, right? So I'm not even going to go into all of that with you. What we are going to go into is what we need to keep an eye on, right? What we need to keep an eye on moving forward, and how that has the potential of helping us. So last week, right? So week just gone, not last week, the week prior to last week, we noticed that this area over here was a low point. So I'm just going to highlight it. So that was the low point of the week, right? And this is what this trend line over here is in response to. Okay, so what I wanted to see is if we was going to get a close below this level at some point during week just gone, right? So week just gone, so everything up from the 13th onwards, right? If price was going to close below that, and we got it. We got the price that closed below this level over here. So it made our lives relatively easy in terms of it made my life relatively easy in terms of what I needed to do and how I needed to do it. So I said I wasn't going to mention it, but I'll mention it in terms of the kind of moves that I took anyways, right? So essentially, on a Monday, I saw price pull up. So I didn't do anything on the Monday, and I'm beginning to get the vibe that on the Monday you kind of want to watch the market to see what the market's going to do and how it's going to do it before you lock yourself into anything. So on the Monday, price kind of pushed up, right? So price pushed up, and then on the Tuesday, price began to break down, right? So I took an early guess. An early guess that I took was that this was the high of the week, right? On the Tuesday, I had no idea. It was just a guess, right? It was just a guess that this was the high of the week, and if it confirmed different, then actually we would have behaved very differently. So in my opinion, on the Tuesday last week just gone, I thought this was the high of the week, and it turned out to be right. So what I basically did was I took a position over here, right? So we're just going to zoom in a little bit tighter in this area so we can get a bit of a vibe, right? So what I basically did was I waited for this level over here to be taken out. So I waited for this low over here to be taken out, right? Because we was at the high point. So it was at the high point. So if that was indeed the high of the week, it was only natural that a low point will be taken out, right? And this is the low over here. So I'm just going to just draw a little bubble on it. So once this low was taken out, I didn't do anything. I didn't jump in straight at this level, okay? What I did was I waited for the following candle to kind of come into play. And this was this one over here. So I took my position from over here right? I took my positions from over here, and then I covered this area as my stop, right? So I covered this area as my stop because I knew if it goes above this level right here, if it goes above this level, then there's a very good chance that price is expanding and that is not the high of the week. The high of the week is yet to be formed. So that was the simple rules that I was operating under. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, just very simple, straightforward, straight to the point, right? It goes above this level, the high of the week is not setting and is still creating the high of the week, at which point I would then jump out the trade, eat the loss, wait until it settles, and then attempt this strategy again, which is wait for a low to break, wait for it to actually settle, and then enter the market, right? So that didn't happen. I thought what I thought was correct turned out to be correct. So obviously I took my first position, right, at that level. And then obviously we rolled it down, and then I waited, and then I waited, and then I waited, and then I saw another position over here. So then I took another position. So once we had this position locked in, I waited for another situation to present itself, and that was in this area right here. So in this area right here was when I took my second position, right? So I took my second position over here. I would say this is the one that I took, right? So I took this position over here. Okay, I already had this sell in place as it stood, right? My stop for this level was up here. So if this had gone bad and that had gone bad, I would have taken double L, right? So what I did was I sat in there, and obviously we continued to wait, Then I saw the pull to the upside on the following day, which was the Thursday. Right, the Thursday. So at this point, I've been sitting in profit from since Tuesday. Right? And then I saw this area over here, a nice little build up, and this is when we got right under the weekly low, the previous weekly low. So these two trades over here, this one here and this one here, were risky moves, right? Because there was no confirmation that it was going to go down even lower. There was none whatsoever. I just went off the assumption that the weekly high hadn't been broken, and under that rule, it only makes sense that it's only going to push down until it decides that it wants to push back up again, right? So that was the rules that I was playing under. So once we got this move under the weekly low, okay, in my opinion, I was like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. This is fantastic. We're going to get involved. So what I did was, first, I took a position over here, and that went bad, right? And the reason why it went bad was because my stop at this level over here, because I've seen this now, right? So I've literally moved all of my, so I've brought this into, so I've brought this trade over here and this trade over here all into profit in terms of trailing stops. So my trailing stop was roughly sitting about this zone over here, okay, right? Was sitting above this zone over here, just above it, not below it, just above it. Because in my opinion, should I have moved my trailing stop under the weekly low, there's a very good chance that should price try to retest the weekly low, I will be taken out only for it to keep continuing on its journey downwards. So it made sense. I put the trailing stop up here. So that's what I did. So I secured both profits, trailing stop at this level, right? And then I took a second trade over here where my stop was, and I should have made my stop a little bit bigger in all fairness, but I didn't, right? So my stop was a little bit tight. It was about here somewhere, right? So my stop was like this. Actually, let me use a different one. Let's use this one. So my stop was something like this, right? Something quite like this. So as you can see by what I'm showing you, I was kind of covering this area over here, but I created a bit of room up just in case, right? And then what happened was I got taken out, taken out, which was cool. So I thought, okay, there might be a good chance that this might end up being the low of the week and price is going to close me out. I already locked in, I had already locked in profits, right? So because I'd already locked in profits, I wasn't too worried if price pushed up to this level and closed me out, because I would not have lost. I would have just lost this one. And looking at the size of that, literally, I didn't really lose anything at all because I've made it all previously. So as I continue to monitor the situation, right, I saw that price came back down again. So price came back down again. And at this point, I thought to myself, you know what, let's go back in. Let's go back into the game because it kind of makes sense to jump back in. So I jumped in, not on these candles over here, but I jumped in on this one right here, right? So I jumped in about this level over here. And then what I did was, instead of having to stop really low, I covered this level right here. So I moved my stop to about this zone. My trading stop for both trades was still sitting up there, and we had a little bit of room in the middle where obviously literally, I don't even know what that means, but we just had a little bit of room in here anyways. So as the day went on, price pushed down and then broke all the way through, which was fantastic. So come Friday, I was able, so this one went bad. So let me just get my little thingamajig. Where is the X's? They've updated this with all of these emojis, which is cool, but I kind of like the old ways when we had the old stuff there. Yeah, so this one went bad, right? So this one went bad. We're just gonna put an X on it, and this one here, it was okay, so it was running good. So on a Friday, I was able to move all of my stops to about this level right here. Okay, which was fantastic. And then I waited to see what was going on. So once price broke past this level again, right, because now I'm actually getting really greedy now, right? Once it broke past this level, what I basically did was I put in an entry over here, put in an entry at this level, and I had my stop right here, right above this zone right here, okay? And I moved all of my stops to that level, right? And on the evening of Friday, so yesterday evening, every single one was triggered out, and I took a loss right here, right? Which wasn't really a loss. So I took a loss over here, and I took a loss over here, right? Let's do copy. So basically, I took a loss right there, right? And every single trade outside of that was all perfect. So 2 losses versus 3 winning trades, right? So my week last week was really good, and I will be replicating the same level of trades again next week, because I think I have a really good understanding as to how to actually plan my entries and exit out of my trades, just using just basic standard logic, right? Nothing too fancy, no crazy indicators. We're just going to keep it all simple based off price, right? So moving on to next week. What are my vibes on next week? So we're going to bring this back a bit, back to where it was. So this is now looking like this level right here is the low of last week. Last week's low, right? So one thing that we are beginning to see, so the lows are being set on a Friday and the highs are being set on a Tuesday, right? So these are the 2 things that we've noticed so far, that I've noticed so far, okay? Either the Monday or the Tuesday is when the high will be set, and the Friday is when the low will be locked in, right? This could change, and like I say, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just saying what I've noticed so far in regards to the trades, and we can actually use what we've seen in the last 3 weeks as an example, okay? So going back 3 weeks, the high was set either on a Monday and maintained itself on a Tuesday, okay? We got a low on the Thursday, right? The week after, the high was set between the Monday and the Tuesday. That's the zone right here. And then we had the low set on the Friday, right? This week just gone, we have the high setting on the Tuesday, dead on, right? And the low set on the Friday, right? So let's just see what transpires next week. Next week could be the same thing. We could end up with the high showing up either on a Monday or a Tuesday, and then the low we get towards the end of the week. That is if the downtrend continues. In my opinion, I think it will. And reason why I say that is I'm just going to bring in another NAS chart that is a little bit cleaner. Yep, right? Look, if we look at the NAS chart on a day, right? This is what we can see so far. And like I say, that's why I'm like, these things that we've got to be super on point in regards to how we actually analyze the market, all right? This low over here hasn't been fully taken out, okay? This low hasn't been fully taken out because all we have is a wick right now, okay? So we need to see what happens next week itself. We need to see what actually happens next week if we get a stronger move to the downside that fully takes us out. If this fully takes us out with a full body candle pushing to the downside, then it's fair to assume that all of our moves should be downward facing. And because I've said that, it's important I say this. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. I don't know what direction the market is going in, if it's going up or down, sideways or whatever. I don't have a clue. I'm just following the direction that it goes in using the best tools and concepts that I've learned over the years. And I'm just sharing that with you as to how I go about doing that. All right. So it's important that you take note of that. I'm not saying that I've got this figured out. I'm still learning. Right? So that's what I'll be waiting for. I'll be waiting for price to take this out. Well, should price take this level out right here, okay, then I know that literally we might have all of this all the way down, and then it might give us a new lower low, or it might settle at this level right here, this level right here. So let me just draw a little arrow to it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, right? So price could settle at this level right here. Level in question would be 10,600, no, would be, sorry, whoops, I moved my mouse, would be 10,668.3, there or near about, right? So this is where I'll be expecting price to go if I see a full body wick. And also, bearing in mind, I will also be analyzing real-time data, because just because it's gone past this level, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to come all the way down. It might start to push back up again. This could actually be a fully fledged uptrend, so the good old days could be back. That I don't know, but what I need to work with is that I need to understand what is happening as it's happening and keep myself dynamic so I'm able to respond to the market as it does certain things as we move forward. We're going to get into what I think we should be keeping an eye out for next week in terms of what the market is going to do and how the market is going to do it. So we're going to go into the hourly right now. And once again, there are two levels we need to keep an eye on for next week. And those levels are the weekly high of last week, of week just gone, and the weekly low. These are the two levels we need to keep an eye on. So if you're totally new to this whole concept of trading, right? If you're completely new to the concept of trading, one of the best ways to help you get around how to move in the market, it's not the golden standard, but it's one way to help you actually be able to navigate the market. It's either wait for a high to be broken or wait for a low to be broken before you make decisions. Point blank and simple, right? It's that simple, right? So look at it right here. This was weekly low. Weekly low was taken out at some point. You could have made a move here. Okay, cool. You got caught out, stop loss, etc. Blah, 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 whatever. Boom. Following week, it went below it again. You timed it right, you would have got all of that. It's that simple. It's not easy, but once you get your head around it, it starts becoming simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler. So for me, it's still hard, but it is a little bit easier for me right now than it was, say, 4 months ago. And at 4 months ago, it was a little bit easier then than it was the previous 4 months. And that's how the journey goes, right? So once again, stay in the fight. It will work out. You just have to take time. And the golden rule that I go by as I'm learning how to trade is my goal is not the money. My goal is to understand how to perfectly execute trades in the market. If I get the execution of trades in the market right, the money will follow. If I follow the money, I'm going to screw up. That's the rules I go by, and so far, this week, last week was fantastic. This week too was another good week, okay? And next week, I am predicting that it's also going to be another good week. And I just think it's just going to keep getting better and better and better as I move through this. And I'll be sharing all of these ideas with you, and hopefully it will be helping you along your journey also. So with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to thank you for coming over to watch another episode of NAS100 analysis today. Make sure you check out the description, useful information in there. If there's anything you need, educational material, a new broker, if you're not using TradingView, all the links are in the description. Make sure you follow those links and get yourself set up. And with that covered, awesome people, I will see you in the next video. So this is Pips and Points signing out.